Hello everybody, I'm Brainy Diode, and I am back with another episode of Nier Automata. Last time, we returned to the surface and started to get our bearings in the place, and this time, we will be completing the couple of quests that we were given, and maybe finding out where we'll be headed next. I mean, this city isn't all there is to the old world after all. So, first, we were tasked with taking out a couple of small machines. This isn't exactly the smallest of machines we've seen, but might as... Okay, apparently I'm locking on to them. That's a bit of a problem I have with the game. The lock-on is kind of wonky at times, but all in all, it doesn't really hurt too much. I mean, sure, it can pose a problem in bigger groups of enemies, but with smaller groups, it doesn't really cause too much of an issue. So,
okay,
as you can see,
that's everything the supply trader asked for.
As you can see there, we've already completed the quest to get...
These chores are a real pain in the butt, huh?
The Resistance is a valuable ally to Yorha. By helping them, we also help ourselves. So no, I don't think they're a pain.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, 9S. That took like 10 seconds. Anyway, let's head on through here and on to our next task. Or we could be blocked off again. That's another slight problem I have with the city area in particular. The outside edges of the city are pretty distinguishable from between the different areas, but on the more inner parts of the city, it can be pretty hard to tell where you are at any given time. There's just a lot of...
that weapons trader was talking about. Uh-oh. I'm picking up hostile machine life forms.
There's just a lot of blockades in really awkward places that personally I really don't think needed to be there. Now these guys you're going to want to look out for because their axes actually do quite a bit of damage. In fact, we don't even need to be fighting them at all because unlike with the previous enemies, oh wow, okay, yeah, see how much damage that guy could do. Later in the game, they'll be doing even more. We don't actually have to fight these guys, because unlike with the other items we're looking for, they aren't actually enemy drops, they're just kind of things that you can find lying around on the ground. Like with that, that's one of the things we were looking for. But, you know, it makes it just the slightest bit easier if we clear out the enemies, so they're not sneaking up and attacking us while we're in the middle of stooping down to pick something off the ground.
That should be enough. Let's get these back to the trader.
So there we go. We've collected all the items we need. Let's head on back to the Resistance camp. And just for style points, let's take this tree trunk. It's more of a root, I suppose, but same basic gist. So, as you see there, yes, this game has fishing. Honestly, in my entire first playthrough, I don't think I ever actually fished a single time. I'm sure you can catch stuff and sell it, or use it for side quests, but I never came upon an opportunity, or an instance where I actually needed to for any sort of quest I was doing, so... It's there if you want it. Me, I'm more content just continuing with the main plot, but to each their own, I suppose. Let's get this equipment to these people. I think this should be enough to fix your broken device. Well, how do you like that? Looks like I'm back in business. Good to hear. You know it. I make these weapons to keep my friends safe, after all. Although sometimes I wonder, What if my weapons are just making my friends die all the faster? Ah, never mind. Forget I said anything. Anyway, come back in a little while, alright? I should have some new gear for you then. That's not exactly a pleasant thing to think about. But apparently in a while meant instantaneously, because he's already ready to talk to us again. Hey, it's you! Oh, I almost forgot. I still owe you a reward. I wanted to say thanks for helping me get these things up and running again, so I whipped you up some upgrade materials. So, we have a couple of things that we have some EXP, some money, a few things that we can sell. I'll try them out, you bet, or we could use them to upgrade our weapons. For now, though, let's... Oh, we don't have enough... Oh, I didn't want the Ancient Overlord, did I? Let's go ahead and take the Beast Lord. I do quite like having the Beast Lord equipped as my heavy attack, at least for this point in the game. We'll go ahead and have this set to the heavy attack, and because the Virtuous Treaty only has 2 light attacks, I think I'm just gonna unequip it for now. It feels kind of bad since we only just got it, but it's really nice to have... It's really nice to have a lot of attacks ready at a moment's notice in the light attack. Later on, when we get some more money, we can come back and pick up the Beastbane. Actually, this is about older weapon models. Her name's Accord. She's the proprietor for this here business. I just tend to the customers and keep all repair devices humming. I only see her every few years, to be honest. She mostly just uses delivery drones to drop things off. I don't know where she gets this stuff, but most of it's in pretty good condition. Say, if you ever happen to run into her, say hello from me, alright? You can upgrade the weapons you buy here. How much I can upgrade your weapons depends on how much money and materials you have. Some upgraded weapons also add effects that can improve performance. Give it a try if you like. Dealer's request is complete. Let's see if we have enough to upgrade anything at the moment. Looks like we're a bit short on money. Alright, well, actually it looks like it would be even more helpful to not even worry about the Beastbane and just upgrade the Virtuous Contract. So, once I get the necessary money, that might be exactly what I do. The upgraded Virtuous Treaty is even better than the Beast Lord, and it's kind of a signature weapon for 2B, so... And I have all of the equipment to upgrade it, but not all the equipment to upgrade the Beast Lord, so... can't upgrade the Virtuous Contract and the Virtuous Treaty. I'll think of something later. Honestly, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect that I might get all the items I need just wandering around the world. Speaking of items, let's see what's in this here chest. Medium recovery, not bad. And let's pick up this item for completeness sake. It's been hanging around here for long enough. Ranged defense up. That's a plug-in chip that we can use. And let's talk to this trader. Hey, you found the materials. That's great. Now I can start upgrading crafting items for you. I imagine you can spare a few of these supplies to fix your leg? Yeah, no. Why don't you tell us what's really going on? See, it's my left leg that's all busted up, and my left leg is the one that's fully original. I've repaired this old body of mine 100 times over during this war. I've swapped parts in and out so many times I can't even keep track. But this leg, this left leg, it's never been touched. So if I go and replace that, what happens? I mean, would I even be me anymore? Or would I just... Anyway, it's my own problem. Didn't mean to trouble you with it. I should be getting more inventory soon, so swing by when you can. We will do just that, and we've got some gold that we can maybe use to buy stuff straight back from you. Let's see if you have anything that we want at the moment. So mostly just has the HUD chips for now. I do quite like having an EXP gauge, and we don't have any of that by default. It's a bit of a strange thing. There's no EXP gauge by default, but let's pick it up. And now we don't have enough money for anything else. These auto chips. Something important to remember. Unless you are playing on easy mode, the only auto chip that works is the auto use item that we just picked up from our corpse in the last episode. So if you were hoping to use these auto chips, sorry, kind of out of luck at the moment. So we got a lot of not too terrible chips down at the bottom. Weapon attack up, melee defense up, range attack up, and max HP up. I do like increasing my max HP, so I will definitely have to come back here later once I have some more money and pick that up. For now, let us slip on that EXP gauge that we just got. All chips. HUD EXP gauge. So that's nice. It only takes up one slot. You can see over on the right side that we have 40 slots of memory, and in the middle of there it shows our memory, what chips we have equipped where. You can actually move these chips around to help make room. If I wanted to, I could... That's not the button I meant to press. If I wanted to, I could slip this auto-use item way down to the bottom. Don't exactly know why I would want to, but I could if I did. That's nice if you have removed a chip or two to make room for some others and just want to slide them around to make sure you have space to put in the others. You'll also see that there's a big padlock in the middle of there. That's because we'll be able to buy more space for skills later. We are not locked at 40 memory spots, not by any means. We'll have plenty of space to put in more chips later on in the game. For now, let's see what Anemone has to say for us now that we've completed those two requests. Hey, I actually have a request for you as well. There have been a lot of reports of dangerous machines appearing in the desert recently. This is very unusual, so it may be indicative of something bigger. Now I hear your HA types are pretty good at examining things. You think you can look into this whole mess for me? Of course we can. Thanks, I knew I could count on you. I'll tell our allies in the desert that you're coming. Be careful out there, okay? Alright, so I've never actually tried denying that request, so I don't know exactly what it does. I would assume it just locks you in a loop until... Alright, so here, like I said, you can transport yourself to the bunker should you desire. Right now I think we're going to stay on the surface though. As I was saying, don't really know what happens if you deny it, but I imagine it just locks you into a text loop until you accept.
042 to operator. Coordinates confirmed for location specified by resistance leader.
Understood, 042. Placing marker on target. The desert heat is going to make resupply efforts difficult, 2B. Please make sure you're ready before you go.
Alright. As our operator suggested there's not too many places to buy things in the desert. There is one shop just before you enter the area, but that's about it. So, if you want anything that the weapons trader or the supply trader have back here, make sure to pick them up before you go. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal if you don't. It's just a little bit of a a walk if you want to get back from the desert to the resistance camp. But like I was saying, I don't know what happens if you deny an enemy's request. I imagine it just locks you into a text loop, because the next stop in the main story is the desert, and once we get there, I think you'll see why, because stopping by the desert is absolutely critical for continuing the plot. So, 9S was telling us that a lot more machines are just standing around doing nothing, but it seems to me that these guys are rather aggressive. Ah, I almost got a cool special. Oh, okay. Well, there you saw the auto-use item chip in action. That was not my intent, but, you know, might as well take the opportunity while it's there. I'm fairly certain you got to see it in use back in the tutorial, but honestly, it's actually been more than 2 weeks since I recorded the first episode, so I don't really remember for sure, to be honest. We've got an access point nearby, so might as well drop by and activate that while we're in the area before we head on to the desert. There is a access point right in the entrance to the desert nearby that supply trader I mentioned, so that is not the access point. So should you desire an access point in the desert, that is also something you'll have access to. Access to the access point, that's not redundant at all.
Eliminate enemies in vicinity and restore access point immediately.
So something kind of nice about these enemies that attack the access points, they will never directly attack you. They're much more interested in the access point. And also, if I... Oh, hi, you were not guarding the access point, so you will directly attack us. The other thing that's kind of nice about the enemies surrounding the access point is that, if I remember correctly, they will in fact remain level 1 for the entire game. So, later on, it's much easier than it is now to just wipe out the enemies next to an access point. Not that it's particularly difficult at this point, but it goes a lot quicker later on. Actually, we did just get a piece of mail, so while we're here, let's check out our inbox. The commander says there was something I forgot to mention prior to your sortie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. According to our analysis team, the equipment that was lost when breaking into the abandoned factory is still there. I've marked its estimated location, so be sure to pick it up next time you're in the area. That is all, the commander. Ha! One step ahead of you, Commander. We've actually already picked up that equipment. But if you hadn't and were playing through this game for the first time, that could help remind you that there is space in this building. I didn't know there was space in this building. There's an item here. What is this? 200 gold. Okay. Less interesting than I thought. Anyway, if you were playing this game without the aid of my wonderful Let's Play, and you didn't know that you could go back and collect the items that you lost back in the tutorial when you died, now you do know. Let's take out these enemies here because these guys are aggressive. See if we can get off that meat. Yes, there we go. Haha. Well, I don't believe I ever got that move off in a previous episode, so if you thought this game was missing the traditional Platinum Games fare, fear not, for it is still very much here. And I actually... the enemy got knocked out of the way before I could use the attack. But yes, there is beautiful, beautiful looking action here in spades. Alright, so there's a bit of an issue with the sprint. Sprinting from one kind of terrain to another, you kind of stumble and lose your sprint. The boundary here is really difficult to pick out. Honestly, I'm not even sure there is one, so that's a little bit obnoxious, but not too big of a deal. Anyway, we have moved from concrete to sand, so as you might be able to guess, And since this is the direction that I was making for in the first place, as you might be able to guess, this is on the way to the desert area. So here's the access point that I mentioned. We've got a little bit more map information. And fear not, because there are a couple more access points available in the desert, but since we haven't unlocked quick travel yet, those aren't going to help you get back to the Resistance base particularly easy. And we've got this Resistance manor.
Right? I've heard about you guys.
I
We've
forgot
got a
that he was
squad
voice
mate
acting.
waiting in a rocky stretch up ahead. Head on over. Just remember that there's nowhere to resupply out there. If you need anything, best to take care of it here while you can. What can I help you with?
And take care of it we will. If I remember, you don't sell large recovery. You might sell it later. But he has a couple more chips for us, and we can actually afford stuff now. So we don't actually have anything that I particularly want at the moment. Alright. Well, we'll be on our way into the desert then.
The Council of Humanity has a message for all of our brave androids fighting on the surface. Currently, our struggle against the machine lifeforms is at a stalemate. This battle has raged for far too long. I am sure all of you find the effort grueling. But now is not the time to give up. Now, more than ever, we must forge on. Remember that several 100,000 humans on the moon want nothing more than to return to Earth. Glory to mankind.
Those council broadcasts are always so stiff.
So, we've got some...
Report. Mail notification received from access point.
If I remember correctly, that mail is basically just what was said in that message, except in text form, of course. Now, these enemies are a little bit weird, because they're just like little totem pole stacks. And they've got little armholes, but no arms. Poor guys. Also, as I'm sure you've been able to tell by now, they're not aggressive. So, don't need to worry about them attacking you, but should you want to attack them, there is actually a reason to do that, because if for whatever reason you die before heading back to the factory, or if you die somewhere after the factory, or after this point, and aren't able to recover your items from the corpses, these guys will actually, on occasion, not really on occasion, it's fairly common, but these enemies will drop the auto-use item chip. Not quite as good a version as what we have now, but in a pinch it helps. They will drop the auto-use item chip, is what I was meaning to say. Now here is the person we were meant to rendezvous with, so let's talk to her.
Hey, our leader told me all about you. Name's Jackass. Nice to meet you. I hear you're planning to take out all the machines in the desert? Guess that means we need to get that entrance open.
Looks like it. So, Jack Ass, was it? What are you doing all the way out here?
Oh, that? Well... wouldn't want to have anyone getting tangled up in that, now would we? Don't go trying to be a hero, alright?
I think I'll just call you Jack, if that's quite alright. Anyway, Jack has so graciously opened up the way to the desert for us.
Sealed gate
So
with explosives. There's gotta be an easier way, right?
I mean, obviously Jack opens a sealed gate with explosives, but as she has so kindly done so, let's be on our way into the desert area. And I'm not going to try to sprint here because, as you can see, there's a lot of difference between sand and rock, and that makes sprinting rather difficult. I don't remember if you're aggressive. You are aggressive, okay. I know it's aggressive later in the game, but I didn't remember if it was aggressive here. It is. So, keep that in mind, I suppose. But yeah, sprinting in this area isn't really worth it. Now, if you can sort of get a look at these enemies in between... Ooh, that was some interesting camera angles there. If you could get a look at those enemies before I made quick work of them, they were wearing masks, which is something we've not seen before, but it is something that we will be seeing a little bit more of coming up very soon. Desert Zone? What is this, a Sonic game? I guess it is, because we're going pretty darn fast right now.
This sand sure is slippery. Careful. We've got enemies approaching.
Well, let's take them out, shall we? Wherever they happen to be. Here they are.
These machines are talking.
Yeah, I heard from the Resistance that they've been seeing this a lot lately. Couldn't tell you why, though.
So, looks like these machines are a little bit different from the ones that we saw in the factory. If you thought it was just the Goliath unit that could talk, you were dead wrong. So, you'll see that there are 4 different quest points we could be headed to right now. I'm going to be taking care of them in a clockwise direction, starting from the one on the very left, and the reason for that is, if you start with the one on the right, all of the rest of them disappear. To tell you the truth, the one on the very right, or now the bottom right I suppose, is ultimately the one that we want to get to. So we'll be taking care of that last, just so you can see what the rest of them look like out here. Hi there.
Do you think they even understand the concept of being scared?
So you'll see on the ground here, there's something that looks a little different from the normal item pickups we can get. It's down in the bottom left-hand corner at the moment. That is how you differentiate a chip from other items that enemies drop. Let's go ahead and pick up that chip. And as you can see on the map, we are quite close to an access point, so while we're in the area, might as well go unlock that. There aren't very many access points in the desert, so
Proposal. Eliminate enemies in vicinity
seeing them
and
is
restore
nice.
access point immediately.
No. Now I did say that these enemies don't directly attack you, but it is possible to get caught in their crossfire, so do be careful. Anyway, here's our access point. Map information from the desert unlocked. Now, I'll be honest with you, it may seem pretty desolate, but honestly the desert is one of my favorite areas in the game. Mostly because it's just a lot of fun to, you know, do all your shooting while you're sliding around on this sand like crazy. There's a specific area of enemies
I've
that...
seen that sort of thing when I was going through some old data. It looks like what humans used to wear long ago. Certain human collectives used to use face paint like that too.
So there we're talking about masks. There is an item that you can pick up in a desert location called the Ancient Mask, And you know, the first time I got thinking, or the first time I found that, it got me thinking, I mean, what does ancient mean to these characters? Because, really, if you think about it, given the dates we were given in the little info dump in the bunker, we, in the present, here in 2018 or 2019 or whenever I get this video up, are actually closer... Oh no, I hate these enemies. So these are basically bombs on legs. They will blow up if they get near enough to you. You have to shoot them to get rid of them. You could sort of start to hear, but they have kind of screams of existential dread. To be honest, I would probably have some existential dread too if I suddenly popped into existence with the sole purpose of committing suicide. But thankfully we don't have to deal with stuff like that, seeing as we're not robots. Anyway, as I was saying, the desert is actually one of my favorite areas, because honestly, slipping on the sand is a lot of fun. And later on, we will start to hear the soundtrack of the desert area.
To be, it's fine. Their speech doesn't mean anything. They're just emitting words at random. If they wanted help, why would they be attacking us?
Yeah.
So, you can hear a little bit of the soundtrack going on here at the moment, but there's another area of the desert that we'll be getting into in not too long a time that honestly has one of my favorite pieces of the game. It's a bigger, more vocally version of what you're hearing now, and it is easily one of my favorite tracks in the whole game. Which helps really boost my opinion of the desert area, because honestly, if it weren't for the music, probably wouldn't like it as much as I do. But anyway, we've got one more point we need to be headed to, so let's go take care of that. Well, I suppose I was talking about ancient masks earlier. I should probably finish that conversation off. We here in the present of 2018 or 2019 or whatever year you're watching this in, we are closer to Jesus Christ temporally in time than we are to these characters in this game. So really, a Halloween mask that some kid buys on Halloween 2019 would be an ancient mask to these guys. It's kind of really weird to think about. Yeah, at that point it would be at least 3,000 years old. That's a bit. Anyway, though, it's time to head on to our last waypoint in the desert. It's not actually our last waypoint in the desert, but it's our last one for now. So here we've just got one solo enemy, and it's a bit higher level than what we've been seeing so far. And it's a talkative guy, too. And it's gone.
It's heading for that rocky area.
Individual target ID marked.
So our pod has been kind enough to stick a waypoint on that guy specifically. And we're getting very close now to the song that I was singing the praises of earlier, no pun intended.
What's that?
Analysis. It is the ruin of a former human residential area. Large numbers of humans resided in such concrete and metal shelters. The structures were referred to by names such as apartment complex. Report. Mail notification received from access point.
So, I apologize for going silent for a bit there, but I really think you needed a chance to listen to that amazing music. It's easily one of my favorite pieces in the game. It is called Memories of Dust if you desire to go listen to it on your own. Personally, I sometimes will give it a listen when I'm studying or doing work. But now that we have reached the desert housing area, we've found our first access point, and we're hot on the trail of that other machine, I think we're actually going to end things off here for now. So, next time, we will continue to chase that machine, see why it's so afraid of, or why it's so afraid of us, and why it even has a concept of fear, and what exactly it's running to. So, I will see you then.